A new cross-guild legend has been announced, finally, with Buggy, Crocodile and Mihawk, and the next treasure map event will be centered around them. Something we don't yet guaranteed know is if this legend will be a treasure map exclusive legend, like Nami and Karina or Bone Clay for example, or if they will actually be an anniversary exclusive unit just like the new Blackbeard, since the worldwide anniversary is still active and they will be releasing during anniversary events. In my opinion, they will be anniversary exclusive just like Sugo was last year. We got Kid Luffy, Ace, and then we got Sugo as the treasure map legend, quote unquote, but he was not treasure map exclusive, he was anniversary exclusive. That is just my guess for now, we have to wait and see. Let's analyze the legend though, let's see how good the unit will really be, definitely a much anticipated unit by a lot of players. Worthy to note, it is a singular unit, a solo legend, not a dual unit or something like that. They are Q, Slasher and Driven, and they also have an EX Super, which we are going to see shortly, but let's begin with their captain ability. They reduce Driven and Slasher units special cooldown reduction at the start of the quest by 1 turn, pretty classic at this point. They also reduce their own special cooldown reduction by 3, and they boost Driven and Slasher characters HP by 1.3 times and attack by 5.5 times, but if the characters cost 40 or less, then by 6 times. This is essentially the Buggy captain ability since he also has it on his legend. They will make Driven and Slasher characters tandem slots have a matching slot effect, which is always good to have some slots matching from your captain, but it is not the best slot to have since one of the best ships in the game, the Whale Sharks, also makes those slots matching. They will also reduce damage taken by 20%, and for the interesting part of their captain ability, if the crew gets applied with Despair, no matter where it came from, it can come from a special, one of our supports, or an enemy action, so if we get Despaired and this unit is captain, they completely remove Despair and they convert it into reduce top row characters special charge by 2 turns. They make Despair, no matter how many turns it is, into special cooldown reduction of 2 turns for your 2 captains, the captain and the friend captain. The special cooldown reduction definitely doesn't seem that big of a deal, at least at the moment. We have to look at the rest of their kit, but of course Despair removal is great from a captain ability. Outside of that, the damage reduction is not that big. The extra attack boosting of low cost characters is not insane, but a welcomed addition. The tandem slots matching, nothing crazy as I said, and then we have very decent boosting. So I would say overall, for strong legends, not a crazy captain ability, pretty basic, but also interesting because of the last part and definitely decent overall. Let's see the synergy now with the rest of the abilities, starting with the special ability of course. Something we immediately have to clarify about the special ability is that it has phases, and specifically 3 phases, and these are not stages. To quickly explain the difference, stages are when we have a full impact special in the final stage for all of the special cooldown reduction, the special needs, let's say 13 turns, but we can also see weaker versions of that max impact special in previous stages for less turns of special cooldown reduction. Let's take Carrot Wanda for example, a treasure map legend. In stage 1 of their special, they can reduce special cooldown reduction for some classes by 1 turn, but at the maximum stage by 3. And then in stage 1 they provide an ore boost, but by 2 times. Then in the final stage of their special by 2.5 times. So we see essentially a lesser version of the final special in the early stages. With phases, it means that you get a specific part of the special depending on different scenarios during the quest or situations or conditions for your crew. Treasure Map Crocodile is one of the few examples because he can provide different turns of chain boundaries depending on what phase of his special you activate. Let's now see what phase 0 exactly does. They apply set target status, and set target ignores status effect immunities, doubles damage received from driven and slasher characters, and reduces the special charge time of driven or slasher characters that defeated the enemy with set target status with either normal attacks or specials, which of course means damage from specials, but we do have some exceptions. Defeating the enemy with status effects, which includes poison or toxic, certain end of turn damage effects, and I am not sure why they specify certain without explaining what the certain is. Does end of turn damage coming from a special count, and then end of turn damage coming from a captain ability doesn't count? I don't really know, the wording is weird, but resilience might be an issue for this character, that is for certain. And then switch effects, which I'm guessing might also provide end of turn damage like Smoothie Oven, or burn perhaps like Ace and Yamato. The set target status is applied to all enemies for 3 turns, and reduces the character's special charge time by 13 turns, changing the next lance effect to phase 1. So we activate them for the first time in the quest, that is the effect we are getting, and the next time we activate them we are going to get phase 1 of their special. The special cooldown reduction provided to the character that defeats the enemy is 2 turns, meaning just from the first phase of their special, if they are the unit that can defeat the enemy, then they get their special back, because it is 13 turns, and then the 2 extra from defeating the enemy equals 15, which is the special cooldown reduction they need for special activation. On top of that, if they are captain, and let's say we don't defeat the enemy with them, if we get despair in the next stage, then they get 2 turns of special cooldown reduction, which is what they need to get their special back again for phase 1. And that stage reduces all enemies' defense up and threshold duration by 6 turns, very strong removal, deals 1,000,000 damage to all enemies ignoring all defensive effects, defense, and now boosts driven and slasher characters' slots by 2.75 times for 2 turns, very decent ore boost for 2 turns as well to survive through intimidation, and reduces character's special charge time by 13 turns, while also of course changing the next lance effect to phase 2. We once again see them making it easier to reactivate them, and for phase 2 they reduce Crew's Despair duration by 6 turns, I am guessing in case they are a crewmate and not a captain. They set the chain multiplier's minimum value to 3, maximum value at 20 for 3 turns, very decent chain boundaries for 2 different stages, or to survive through intimidation as well, and they apply minus 20% driven and slasher resistance to all enemies for 1 turn, changing the next lance effect to 0. So we start from the beginning if somehow we can get their special again, and of course as we can see the final phase also doesn't offer them any special cooldown reduction. To offer us another cycle of phases, that doesn't happen, that would be kind of overpowered perhaps. And in my opinion, this is a decent, interesting mechanic of a special in general. Good special, removing 6 turns of threshold, defense up, providing a good ore boost, very good chain boundaries for 2 stages as well, and the set target status. But you have to keep in mind that from phase 1 to get access to phase 2, you need those 2 extra turns of special cooldown reduction that are not easily provided by just last hitting the enemy with them, like from phase 0. If for whatever reason you cannot get those extra turns of special cooldown reduction, the cycle stops there and you don't get another reactivation. If the cycle stops there, does that make it a bad special? I still don't think so, because you still get utility, you still get boosting. They have no way of manipulating slots. That is definitely a problem because they do provide an ore boost, so you need a unit alongside them to do it. And I would say the special seems strong, but let's also see how well it synergizes with the rest of their kit. Now for the Sailor abilities, it is important to note that they boost Driven and Slasher characters' base attack by 75, which is bad for a legend in my opinion, not that great. And then they reduce Driven and Slasher characters' special charge time by 1 turn at the start of the quest. it would be definitely more preferable if, like Cracker for example, they could reduce their special for one turn every time another slasher or driven character activates their special, so they can easily have another reactivation and you can get the full capacity of their ability if they are a crewmate, but they didn't make it that easy, because if you get despaired and they are a crewmate, you don't get those 2 extra turns of special cooldown reduction. Generally, the sailor abilities are lacking, in my opinion. For their support effect, they can be attached to driven and slasher characters, makes sense, and at the final level, once per quest, if supported character uses a special to apply damage reduction, they apply minus 10% driven and slasher resistance to all enemies, which in my opinion is not that good. They have a Rush Sugo special as well, I forgot to mention at the start. If your crew has one of these characters in it, obviously not as support, and this is at level 5, at level 1 the condition will be much stricter and the effect much worse. Considering we do get access to activate the Rush Sugo, then it will boost the chain and the attack of the finished up of driven and slasher characters up to plus 0.06 for the chain and 1.9 times for the Rush attack boost, which is definitely strong. But, as I said, this is at maximum level of the Rush Sugo special limit break ability. These are hard to max out, super pay to win, and especially if this is an anniversary specific legend, it becomes even worse at that point. And Bandai is also extremely stingy with providing Rush Sugo, Final Tap and Super Tandem tablets. They also have an EX Super, which is actually very interesting, and it is easy to get access to it. We just need to defeat an enemy with set target status, which is applied of course by the first special activation of the Cross Guild, very easy to do. Alternatively, if we don't want to do that, we can have 2 of the listed characters in the crew, which is not that easy to fulfill, so thankfully we do have the first part of the condition, because Zoro, Perona and Shanks, the characters essentially working with Mihawk, do have great units in the game, but the rest of them either don't have a lot or not a lot of good units in the game, the characters that are assigned to Crocodile and Buggy, so thankfully we do have the first part of the condition. For the EX Super Special itself, we can get 2 turns of special cooldown reduction, so here you go, the 2 turns that you might be missing to go to the final phase and get the chain boundaries can be provided from their EX Super. They also boost the attack of the next final tap performed by a driven or slasher character by 20%, very similarly to V2 Yamato, the Super Sugo Fest unit we got for New Year's. And they apply minus 15% driven and slasher resistance to all enemies for 1 turn, changing of course all driven and slasher characters into their super form. This EX Super in general is not that amazing. In my opinion, the special cooldown reduction is probably the most important part of it, and having 2 turns of special cooldown reduction coming from a non-special ability is also always good. Overall, I think the Cross Guild definitely gets a very strong legend. Their special is good, but it might be tricky to get all parts of it activate in a singular turn. A lot of the time in One Piece Treasure Cruise we need to get the maximum damage versus the final stage, and the Cross Guild is not exactly designed for that, because in the final stage, if we activate their first phase, we can't defeat the enemy. To get the 2 extra turns of special cooldown reduction we need to activate their next phase, we are going to need to get those 2 turns either from the EX Super or the activation of another unit's special. To get the next and final phase as well, we are going to need both the EX Super and another special activation, and this might be very hard to achieve, especially if the quest has a lot of mechanics and debuffs we need to deal with. Of course, obviously we can always get 1 turn of special cooldown reduction from one special or superclass, supertype or action, and then get the other turn we need from another special. Both turns don't need to be from the same action. This is not even a case of is despair present in the quest, because if we want to activate all 3 phases in one turn, even if this pair is active during the preemptive, then we are not going to be able to gain the special cooldown reduction conversion simply because we have a maxed out special. We need the 2 turns of special cooldown reduction after the first or second activation, and by that time the conversion won't apply because this pair will already be removed. Even though the legend is definitely interesting and can be very strong, they also have glaring issues in my opinion, but they are a good unit. Unfortunately though, their Sugo Fest won't be good. Now you might be asking, do we have Sugo Fest information? We don't, but I can guarantee you the Sugo Fest will be bad. It will just be another quote-unquote anniversary Sugo Fest. It will be a fake anniversary Sugo Fest and it won't have great rates, but it won't have the treasure map Sugo Fest structure either, where we are guaranteed a new unit or a unit featured in the banner image of each part available in step 3. There's no way that happens if this legend is anniversary specific. Even if they are not, I don't think they will give us a good opportunity to get them in the third multi anyway though. And if they are anniversary specific, the next time they will be available, it will most likely be during the 10th anniversary, sometime in May. That is everything I had to say for my analysis on this unit though, and when we learn information on the bats, because at the time of me recording this, we don't know the full bats information, I will also make a bats rating video rating the Cross Guild Legend as well, while not fully analyzing them, again of course. Tell me in the comments down below what are your thoughts on this unit. Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Let me know. And of course, if you enjoyed this discussion and analysis of the new unit, definitely leave a like, I would really appreciate it and you would be helping the channel out. Subscribe for more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, and as always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.